Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're going to tackle a really common concern for anyone just starting out with MTHFR support, and that's this whole idea of overmethylation. So let me ask you this. Have you ever started taking methylfolate, or maybe you upped your dose and all of a sudden you just felt a little off? Maybe kind of jittery, agitated, or just feeling like you've had way too much coffee? If any of that is ringing a bell, then you are definitely in the right place. So let's dive in. We're going to break down what could be causing those feelings and get to the bottom of what people actually mean when they use the term overmethylation. Okay, so what is it? Well, overmethylation is basically the term people use when they think the body has an excess of methyl donors. The whole idea is that these extra methyl groups could, potentially throw off some of the body's normal processes. To really get a handle on overmethylation, it helps to look at the other side of the coin, under-methylation. This is what can happen when something like an MTHFR gene mutation gets in the way of folate conversion, and you end up with a shortage of methyl groups. And it's worth noting, while issues with the methylation process are pretty common, it's generally thought that under-methylation is way more frequent than the other way around. And this brings us to a really, really crucial point. While it's absolutely clear that methylation imbalances can happen, it's super important to know that as a distinct medical condition, overmethylation hasn't really been studied much in Western medicine. Right now, it just lacks strong scientific backing. Now, that doesn't mean your symptoms aren't real, not at all, but it does give us some important context. So how can you actually tell if you're experiencing some kind of methylation imbalance? Let's take a look at some of the signs and symptoms people report. The potential symptoms can cover a pretty wide range. I mean, everything from anxiety and depression to hyperactivity, trouble sleeping, and even hormonal imbalances. It just goes to show you how absolutely central the methylation process is to our overall health. All right, let's get a little more specific. If you're having a reaction to a new or even an increased dose of methylfolate, you might experience those exact symptoms we talked about at the beginning. Feeling jittery, maybe some heart palpitations, agitation, or that classic "I've had way too much caffeine" buzz. These are the telltale signs that people often connect with taking too much too soon. If any of this is starting to sound familiar, please don't worry. There is a clear path forward. Let's just walk through a really simple action plan for what to do next. First things first, and this is the most important, talk to a qualified health practitioner who really gets the stuff. They can give you advice that's tailored just for you. Second, you might just need to adjust your dosage. And third, remember this really reassuring fact: B vitamins are water-soluble. What does that mean? It means your body doesn't store them, so these kinds of reactions are almost always temporary. Now here's an interesting little pro tip, and this is based on anecdotal evidence. A supplement called N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, might actually help you manage these symptoms. See, it's a precursor to glutathione, which is body's master antioxidant. So the thinking is that it could help your system process any of those excess methyl nutrients a bit more efficiently. As we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with the single most important principle for navigating your methylation support journey and doing it successfully and comfortably. And that principle is so simple: start low and go slow. Honestly, this applies to any new supplement you take, but it is especially true right here. This approach lets your body adapt gradually and helps you pinpoint the exact dosage that makes you feel your absolute best, which of course minimizes the chance of any of those uncomfortable side effects. And that's our deep dive into overmethylation. Just remember, the real key is to listen to your body and work with a professional. Of course, the journey doesn't stop here. If you're ready to learn more about finding your own optimal dose, the Methyl-Life website has some fantastic resources to get you started. Thanks so much for tuning in.